Mr. Wead,
yes,
what do you think of the RNC changing the rules at the last minute and not seating Ron Paul's all of his delegates that were elected?
Well, I think it's a mistake for them. I think it hurts them more than it hurts us. I mean, we're the future, we're the young people. We have overwhelmingly, our movement is supported by the youth of America. We have more Democrats and independents. Those are the people that a Republican Party would reach out to. We're the Hispanics. You know, they say they want to reach out to Hispanics. Well, we carried 53% of the Hispanic vote in Clark County. All the other candidates, 4 of them combined, took the rest of them. We have the Hispanic vote. You want the Hispanic vote? Just embrace some of our issues. But it's kind of stupid when you have won the nomination to hurt yourself with general election constituencies. You'd want to build with that. I mean, I've been a part of 7 presidential campaigns, and the ones who won were very generous and very inclusive of people. Especially in victory, you should be generous, not petty, not mean, not punishing. That's kind of stupid. So I guess a part of me is kind of happy. I liked, for example, the fact they did that yay and nay vote where they said the yays have it. I thought that was great. Even though we lost it, I thought it was great because the media was shocked. We've been trying to tell them this goes on at the caucus level, at the district conventions, at the state conventions. This is what we've experienced all the way, and they didn't know. So when they saw it themselves, they were a bit astonished. Some of them gasped. Well, that's how the party's being run. And now it'll be run by 10 fat men who will sit in a room. I say that joking, but I know all of them, and they are overweight. 10 fat men will sit in a room, and they'll pick who the delegates are. So what you're doing to your party is you're emasculating your party. You are destroying the infrastructure of your party. There's no sense of ownership. What you want to give people to win is a sense of ownership. So they want to go to a precinct caucus. They want to be part of it because they own it. They get to become voted a delegate to go to the district convention. And at the district convention, you want those people empowered, because to win the election, you're going to need people working at the state level like an army, taking orders, at the county level, taking orders, at the precinct level, taking orders. So when the only owners of the party are 10 men who will decide in the future who else they will allow into the party, if that's what you've got left, okay, these 10 men have got to go hand out leaflets all over the United States of America, put door hangers on the doorknob. You've destroyed your own army. It's kind of ridiculous.
Being that Ron Paul has awakened millions of people to the message of liberty at a grassroots level, and they're taking action and getting involved, what do you think the strategy is going to be moving forward from here?
Whose strategy? For who?
The strategy of the liberty movement. I mean, do you think that we are going to be having people run third party? I mean, being that the RNC has now made it very, very hard for somebody that they haven't gotten behind, those 10 men in power.
Yeah.
How is it going to be moving forward for, say, a Rand Paul or a Justin Amash if, say, one of them were to run for president?
The great thing about that is I don't have to decide, and I don't know, and neither does anybody else, because we're the liberty movement. The people decide, and if the people decide to get behind Rand Paul and push his candidacy, it'll happen, and we aren't going to stop it or force it or push it or say, oh, now you got to support this person or that person. I mean, we cherish people's liberty in our movement. We cherish their opinions, and that will evolve, and people will have to earn our vote, and our ideas will be constantly in movement on these issues and changing, and that we celebrate that. We want to get behind the Constitution. We want to free the marketplaces, let people make money without some oligarchy deciding who gets to have money and who doesn't, like the Middle Ages. You know, we want to return to what we once had and Jeffersonian principles. So I don't know where the movement's going. The movement will tell me where it's going, and I'm just going to race along with them and say, wait, I'm with you.
So being that this is really developed from a grassroots thing, what is your take? I don't know if you saw the recent video where Peter Schiff was saying that Jesse Benton had told people that were speaking at the Paul Festival that they shouldn't attend saying that they were bad people and they were a fringe element. I mean, you had Chuck Baldwin, Gary Johnson, Stuart Rhodes, Lou Rockwell, Tom Woods all speaking there. Guys I don't really consider as a fringe element. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't consider the fringe element to me is the Republican National Committee. I think they're the fringe element. I mean, I don't consider young people as fringe. They're the future. I don't consider Hispanics as fringe. They're the future. I don't consider independents as fringe. I respect independents. They kept their options, and I respect that. I identify with that. I think to just automatically, slavishly say I'm on the green team or the orange team, and I don't know about that. If the team I'm on moves, I'm going to stay with the principles I believe in. I'm not a Republican first. I'm an American first. I believe in free enterprise. I believe in these Jeffersonian principles. I believe so. If the Republican Party embraces, I'm a Republican. If the Democrats embrace them, I'll be a Democrat. If a Libertarian embraces them, I'll be a Libertarian. I don't have any problem with anybody who's got those principles.
I don't know if you have a comment on how there seems to be a rebranding going on within the Ron Paul campaign. They changed the Ron Paul Revolution, which highlighted the love from the revolution, to Republican and highlighted the can. I was just wondering if you had any comments on that.
No, I don't know why they did that or how, so I don't have any real comments on it. Maybe they did it to show solidarity with the Republican Party and to show that Rand Paul's a good Republican. Maybe that's why they did it, I don't know.
Being solidarity with the Republican Party, though, when you've got a candidate that was for NDAAs, for the Patriot Act, the guy drafted Romney Care, he's basically the mirror image of Barack Obama, except he's not African American. It's kind of hard to do. It's kind of very hard to get in line with that. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do agree. But somebody, I've talked about this before, somebody has to practice the art of politics. And thank God it's not me. But the person who practices the art of politics is going to have to get elected. And the tragedy is when people compromise their principles to get elected. And that's a tragedy. But if nobody does it, we're sunk as a country. Somebody's got to get out there, get out front, champion our principles, get as much of them done as he can, turn us around, turn us in a different direction. Just to turn us in a different direction and get us moving in that direction would be a positive thing, in my opinion. So there may be a politician that emerges that I disagree with lots of what he says, but I see he's going in the right direction and I'll support him. I mean, to me, it's no longer left and right. That's old. That's Paris. The left bank, the right bank, the Seine River divides the two. It's the communists, the socialists, and there's the monarchy. There's the two extremes. Left and right is over because the Cold War is over. And so that's no longer an excuse for people to be in one camp or another anymore. Left and right's gone. Up and down doesn't work. It works in rhetoric, but it's not the rich against the poor or the poor against the rich. In and out is what it's all about. There's insiders who control how money is spent, control what we do with our lives. They're the insiders, and 99% are the outsiders. And we don't get to be rich. We don't even get to be middle class anymore. We can't even have the value of our home. That's stripped away. We have no retirement anymore. We're out. There's the insiders, the oligarchy with all their advantages. They get to make money and give it to themselves at 0% interest, charge us 6 or 9 and make money off of us. They get to load us down with regulations so we can't get our piece and can't start our companies and can't start our businesses. And so it's in and out. And that's what this fight's all about. And the insiders control what we hear and what we read and the media, and we got to do the best we can with the internet.
Hopefully, moving forward, we can change that with a little bit of truth.
Maybe
Shine
so.
the light of truth on people.
Yeah.
And Liberty, thank you very much, Mr. Wead.
Oh, good. Thank you.
It was very nice meeting
Good
you
to
again.
See you too.
Thank you.
At the Ron Paul rally, you know, the one of the messages that was played over the big screen, you said Jesse Benton was a genius with the delegate strategy. Obviously, there's been a lot of complications with the delegate strategy. Would you still back up that statement, or do you have any kind of comments on how that's panned out?
Yeah, I think it was brilliant because you have to understand we came very close to winning the cavalcade within 100 and some votes, 160 or something votes. If we'd won the cavalcade, there's no way they could have omitted us or kept us out. And it would have given us some steam for the caucus. You saw how close we came in the caucus. In fact, we won the caucus, but nobody reported it. And if all of that had been brought together and we had won the Iowa caucus, and then come second in New Hampshire, maybe even closer, we would have been in play in South Carolina. We could have gotten to a brokered convention. We could have gotten our ideas before the masses. It didn't work. But they had this backup plan. And the reason I called it genius is because everybody now is criticizing in retrospect this delegate plan that they never suggested in the first place. So they didn't come up with it. It wasn't their idea. They hadn't thought of it. They didn't know how it would work. So whether you like Jesse or not, you got to credit him for coming up with a plan that ultimately didn't work, but it kept us in the game. And if they hadn't cheated us at many of these district conventions and these county conventions and these state conventions, we would and if Rick Santorum had not withdrawn, we would have had a brokered convention. That would have given our delegations enormous power. It would have given our message enormous power, even as it is. The platform has adopted the principle that you must declare war, Congress must declare war. It's adopted the principle that we should audit the Fed. It's adopted that we must keep the internet free. It's taken all of these platform ideas that I know you say don't amount to anything, but they do when there's an ideological war going on. We won those anyway. What would have happened if our delegate strategy would have worked? And it would have worked. We would have carried 11 states going into here, and that's why they cheated, because they had to stop it. And that's why they were even nervous here. They were here, they'd won it, and they still have to say the ayes have it. That lets you know how nervous they were. So we were a little closer than a lot of people think. So you may not like him, you may think he should have done one thing one way or different, but he was the guy that came up with this backup strategy for it, and that everybody now in retrospect says, well, why didn't you go here or turn left at that street instead of this street? So you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah,
my main question real fast was, why did he make that strategy known publicly?
Well, at a certain point, we had to make the delegate strategy known publicly to involve our people, and we did that as soon as our opponents knew what we were doing. Once our opponents knew what we were doing, there was no reason to hide it from our own people, because it would empower our own people, it would help finance the campaign, the attorneys we needed to challenge. And one thing we couldn't talk about during the campaign was our legal strategy. We couldn't talk about it because our attorneys told us not to talk about it, and second, we didn't want to tip off the opposition. If you talk to anybody who's an attorney, a cousin, a nephew, a neighbor, anyone you know who's an attorney, and they're going to tell you, do not let the opposite side know what your complaint is and what the basis of your argument is, because they will build a defense against it. And so we were kind of stuck there with not much we could do. But there were things about the campaign we did wrong, no question about it, and we regret that.
I just have one more quick question. A lot of people in the grassroots have felt like there's been a major discord between the grassroots and the campaign, and that partly Jesse Benton has been part to play in that, but just generally they felt like they haven't had a lot of help with the campaign, and then it's just been a major divide between the two. Do you have any comment on that?
No, I don't have any comment on that. You know, when I said earlier that you need someone to be political, someone's got to be a politician. Someone in the liberty movement has to step forward. I want to tell you, there are people in the liberty movement who are not political, who are making money off the liberty movement by selling books and doing things and saying things. They can afford to be very provocative, because the more provocative, the closer to the edge they are, the more money they make. Well, we need those people, but we also need some people where this isn't about making money. This is about winning. And that's when you need political people. But just as we need politicians who will run for office and know how to couch things in different language so they can get a wider circle of votes, we also need political strategists like a Jesse Benton who can make the hard decisions they have to make to help get someone elected. And considering what we had going into it, in my experience, I've been in 7 presidential campaigns. This campaign did a lot of pretty remarkable things with the numbers.
I definitely agree, but do you think that there's been, from the campaign side, do you feel that there's been any kind of disconnect with the grassroots?
Yeah, there has been a disconnect, and the biggest disconnect was over our inability to, and our decision not to attack Mitt Romney going into Michigan. That's the basis of all of it. And I favored us going after Mitt Romney. I wanted to go after him like crazy. The argument against going after Mitt Romney was that he had a tremendous amount of money. And he threatened to drop an A-bomb on us. He threatened to destroy forever the name Ron Paul by producing commercials that would, and advertising that would destroy his name and reputation. And that was the argument in favor of, if he's already won the nomination, which our numbers told us he had. By the way, those of you listening, this is all for our defense. This is to protect us. We have people in brown shirts driving around Tampa on little golf carts to protect us, and the wonderful thing is they're not wearing armbands. Isn't that great? No armbands. So we're very grateful for that. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the decision not to attack Romney. I wanted to do it anyway. I thought, what? Romney's going to attack us? That'll make us look even bigger. So I was in favor of it, but it was a decision that was made, and for the future of the liberty movement, and sometimes you have to make those decisions.
One more question. Some people have been saying that there was a lot of money left over in the Ron Paul campaign, and why couldn't that money have gone to help the delegates get down here? Because a lot of the delegates were struggling to get down here, and obviously that has been a major playing factor. You know how many delegates we've had here.
Well, I researched that, and maybe I was wrong, but I can only find a couple, 2 or 3, that weren't getting the funds fast enough. And one of those that I was emailing with, I said, I'll give you money myself if you need it to get down here. So I don't know, that's a perception that's out there, but I don't know if it's accurate, because we were giving money to them. And I know this, they don't have a lot of money, because I was in the green room with Congressman Paul when he was going to do his appearance on Fox TV, and I overheard him talking about how to get back to Houston, and they were saying, well, do we have enough money to do that, and can we do that? So I don't think they have a whole lot of money. It goes up very, very fast in a presidential campaign. You're up against people who can make money.
Yeah, I know, of course.
It's us poor people who have to support this campaign.
Of course, so, I'm just saying, you know, there's been so much with the grassroots, and that definitely helps clear up, you know, just to get some feedback from the campaign is always, it's, you know, it's really nice to hear.
Yeah, if they wanted to make money, they'd do it differently than they're doing it.
What do you think of the article on Lew Rockwell today where Ron Paul was stopped on his way home? Lew Rockwell had written on there that he was stopped and that the TSA was trying to search him and Carol Paul as they were entering a private plane and were hassling the two of them. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I didn't see that. I think it's all very, very comical, though. It's funny. I guess people are too young to understand what fascist governments are like, what they do. People say, well, I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. It just protects me. Well, so what? Jesus was innocent. Gandhi was innocent. Your innocence doesn't have anything to do with this. Well, I don't have anything to hide. So you mean you think Thomas Jefferson had something to hide? You think Benjamin Franklin had something to hide? You think the Bill of Rights and all these things were devised so they could protect this criminal class of George Washington and Hamilton and all these people? They're all criminals, and they passed these things so that they could have things to hide. right. No, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, this evolved from centuries. There's how many hundreds and thousands of people were thrown in a dank, dark prison and starved to death there, or starved to death in a cage. You can go to Europe and look at the cages where they hung up people and starved them to death. How many people had to die to get these rights to defend us? And Cardinal Richelieu said, "Give me 8 lines written by any man, and I can have him tried as a criminal." This is the power of the state. He could take 8 lines, look him over, and he's a good prosecutor, can put this guy, can have this guy hung for crimes, because that's how vulnerable we are before the state. And that's why we have the Bill of Rights, and that's why it's not to protect Thomas Jefferson from his crimes. It's because Thomas Jefferson knew that once you give up these rights, even to protect the innocent, it won't be long till the innocent becomes a target. And the fact that young people are rediscovering this is just wonderful. I wish I could live long enough to be around to see it all change, but I'm afraid it may get worse before it gets better.
Well, hopefully you'll be there to see it change.
Oh, that'd be great. This was good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
There's no man here that will defend the Constitution. No man here will defend the Constitution. I am fucking scared shitless.
Be engaged in a process that changes the world at a minimum, and that's the passion. The passion is to live life to its fullest every single day.